Stay tuned to Cardinal Television. Commotion's coming up next. Hello, ladies and gents, guys and gals, dudes and dudettes. You are watching Commotion, St. John Fisher's pop culture debate show here on Cardinal Television, and I'm your host, Rob Sweet. The rules of Commotion are simple. I will offer up questions and topics of discussion for our three panelists to rant, rave, and debate about. At the end of the program, the panelist who has offered the best arguments throughout the show will be declared the winner by moi, and will be offered 30 seconds to tell the world about whatever their heart desires. So let me introduce your panelists today. First we have, sitting in the second part, in the second seat, Jake Tinker. We affectionately call Tink. He is the namesake of the Heart and Hustle Award, annually given to a wrestler at Cortland High School. That's pretty cool. And next we have, in the closest seat to me, Evan Bordis, a member of hard rock band Sewage Crew.
Whoa!
That's pretty rock and roll, man. And then over to farthest from me, we have Nick Ferguson, a native German, and just so happens to be the general manager of Cardinal Television. Thanks for gracing us, Your Honor.
No problem. Here anytime.
Now that we have met the contestants, now let's get commotional. According to the World Health Organization, bacon and other processed meats such as sausages and hot dogs increase the risk for cancer by about 18% if consumed. Will you stop eating bacon, or is the risk too small to worry about? Nick, I'm going to start with you on this one. What do you feel? I mean, are we going over the limit with what we should and shouldn't eat? What is healthy and unhealthy?
Yeah, I mean, everything is like unhealthy nowadays. Everything causes cancer. The sun causes cancer. And
that one we've known for quite some time.
And it doesn't prevent people from going outside. People still go to work. People still go to the beach. And to be fair, bacon is wonderful. I love bacon. I don't know how you guys feel, but I will continue to eat bacon till the day I die. If that means I die a little younger,
that's a risk you're willing to take.
Because those baconless years of not being able to eat it just would, it's not worth it to not eat bacon and still be alive.
It's for your own emotional health. It's better that way. All right, Jake, Tink, what do you got to offer? I mean, are you a bacon fan? Do you eat meat, or are you a vegetarian?
I love bacon. In fact, I actually had bacon in my wrap earlier today.
Oh, yeah. What kind of wrap was it?
Chicken, lettuce, whole wheat wrap.
So basically, I mean, bacon goes with anything, right?
It does. You can put it in a salad. It's great with anything, burgers. But you know what? I always have problems with reports like this. It's always so open-ended. 18% more. But what is it 18% more to? Is it if you don't exercise? Is it if you're just sitting there eating bacon nonstop for a year straight?
Yeah, so are you cutting corners other places? I mean, Evan, what do you think? Bacon or not?
Okay, here's the thing. According to the World Health Organization, the only reason that what they basically were trying to say with that report is that everything should be done in moderation. They researched people who ate bacon 3 meals a day and also sausage, and that is chemically treated meat, which is really horrible once you think about it. Obviously, anything involving chemicals will give you cancer. So it's basically saying that everything should be done in moderation. It's okay to have bacon every Sunday, but not 3 meals a day.
Oh, fair enough. Moderation is the key to pretty much everything, I would think. But I mean, Nick, it sounds like you're an avid
Yeah, I
eater.
completely disagree with that. Bacon is an everyday thing. I mean, if you don't eat bacon at least once a day, I feel there's something wrong with you. I mean, bacon is the staple of all American diet.
So
if you don't eat bacon, you're almost not American.
Right, you would.
So I definitely suggest eating more.
You would be like a ham eater in Canada.
Yes, it's what is that?
Because that's not bacon.
It's not bacon.
Well, actually, hamburgers are considered the all-American diet.
Well,
not bacon.
Well, that was until bacon hamburgers were invented.
Exactly.
And then once those were made, that became the staple, because the bacon hamburger is the solid choice.
I mean, you can put bacon with anything. You could wrap your scallops in bacon.
Bacon ice cream.
Ooh.
Bacon meatloaf.
I've had it.
That was served in our dining hall earlier this evening for dinner.
That was good.
Wow.
So, I mean, it can go with anything.
Yeah,
You can't limit something this amazing.
it's transcended to desserts. It's like there's chocolate covered bacon, like you said, ice cream. I mean, where can you go wrong? I mean, I understand it's not healthy, but I mean, to me personally, that's a risk I'm willing to take.
I said, as long as you like go to the gym and maybe like be a little athletic, I don't think it's going to be that bad for you. I mean,
I think you have to be more concerned about the saturated fats that's going to come with the bacon, actually.
no,
Maybe a clogged artery or two.
it's a
But,
sacrifice I'm willing to make.
And also the fact that you're like eating at 3 meals a day, eating something for 3 meals a day, whatever it is not healthy at all.
What if it's salad?
There was this study a while ago about how Diet Coke caused brain cancer. They found out that the reason was they were feeding rats 2 times their body weight for 3 times a day, which is like disgusting. That's first of all animal cruelty, but that is how we get our results. And I really don't hope the World Health Organization did something like this to get the statistic.
That's a little
It's
excessive.
really
I mean, that'd be
screwed
like
up.
me eating 600 pounds of bacon a day.
Okay, fair enough. I
That'd be
think
rough.
anybody eating 600 pounds of bacon, it's not going to go well for them. Yeah, the next day is going to be horrible. The U.S. government announced that special forces will be deployed to Syria and Iraq to fight ISIS and train Syrian rebels. Should the U.S. send in boots on the ground in addition with the airstrikes we're already deploying, or should we not risk American lives? Tink, let's start with you on this one. You got a patriotic bone in your body?
Well, you know what? I am very patriotic, but for me, this just seems like the same old song, different dance. I mean, we've seen many wars in our lifetime. Most of us haven't even hit our 20s. I mean, Nick's a little older, but so things like this.
Let's not make fun of people's ages around here. All right? You're old enough to go to war. I'm old enough to go to war. Nick's
We're all
old enough to
old enough
go to war.
We all are
America.
old enough to go to war, but with things like this, I mean, it's just a waste. I feel like it's a waste some of the time to go to war. I mean, it's a necessary evil, is my view. We have to do it. It keeps us safe. So if we have to sacrifice some of the time, we have to make the sacrifice.
Okay, but some would say that the threat is not really as pertinent as people think it is. Evan, I mean, do you agree? Do we have to send these troops over? Is ISIS that big of a threat?
Yes, I completely agree. I know that we're tired of war and we don't want our families to just lose their sons or daughters from this war. But I think this is necessary because if we don't take action, then ISIS is going to completely take over the Middle East. And by then, so many lives will have been lost in the Middle East. Also, you may have read in the news that they're destroying historical relics. It's just awful what they're doing. And if we don't act now, we're eventually going to have to act later when lives have been lost. And it'll be more difficult because we don't have the Kurdish fighters to assist us.
So not just for our safety, but for historical purposes as well.
Yes, definitely. Those relics definitely, I think, mean a lot to the people in the Middle East.
Well, Nick, you have family in the military. You grew up a military child.
Yeah, I come from a military background. My father was in the Army. My uncle and grandpa were both in the Navy. And I'm completely against the idea of going into the Middle East again. We spent so much time there. We've lost thousands of lives. It's unnecessary. And with all due respect, I know the people people do like the idea of saving the relics. I don't care. They're their relics. If they want to destroy their own relics, let them. There's no reason that more American lives need to be lost to protect them. The Russians, in fact, are actually fighting ISIS as we speak. And I don't see why we need to go in there. We've just spent the past 15 years in the Middle East, and it's time for a break.
So leave it to the Russians.
Leave it to the Russians or even our other allies. I know the Russians aren't technically our allies, but they're not our enemies either.
I mean, so none of you would take up arms and go over there yourselves, huh?
If I had to, I mean, I would definitely join because I do believe in defending my country. But I don't want to. But I'm also not going to be that person that's like, I'm not going to join because if my country calls me, I'm going to do it.
I was going to say the same pretty much goes for me. I actually had my older brother, he was over in Afghanistan for a while, so he's actually out of the military now. So he's been over there. He went through some of the things. He says he saw things, you see things over there. War isn't this nice thing. So if it came to it, I would go to the call of action, but
Well, is it something to be said that if you signed up for the job, it is your job to do. I mean, you take what orders are given to you. Am I right, Evan?
Well, yeah, you are right, because that's just part of the contract for the military. But also, I think this is a very just cause. It's a lot more just than Iraq. And I believe that if we go in, it truly will make a difference, even if it's just the special ops.
Okay, well...
We have valuable knowledge that they could really use.
Oh, awesome. Well, you know, war is never an easy issue to talk about, and the war that is brewing over these topics is not very easy to deal with either, so that's why we have to take a commercial break. But when we come back, the commotion will keep on rolling, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. See you on the other side.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish! In your face! In your face!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
And welcome back to Commotion. And the topic we got next is one that's very near and dear to every one of us on the panel and myself. The Transformers franchise is planning to make 4 more movies over the course of the next 10 years. Is Transformers a franchise that will survive, or is this overkill? Evan.
I definitely think it will survive because there's some crazy Transformer fans out there. I think it's really sad that these franchises are making so much money just because they're familiar, and there's actual movies with great plots out there who are not making that kind of money. And I think a lot of this has to do with the media. They're covering these franchises and sequels, but they're not covering just these new movies with great reviews and great storylines. I think that the Transformer movies are going to be another Fantastic Four, which got terrible reviews. And I believe that they still will make money because of those fans.
Could it be said that the media is covering it because the media always covers what people want to hear? How about that, Jake?
I mean, the media has different ways of looking at things. I mean, 4 more movies, what's the big deal? There's already 4 movies out there. So why not make another 4? But to be honest, sometimes it's just give the people what they want.
Right, because what they want is what sells. I mean, if we're fans of it, why should we be denied it, huh, Nick?
Well, what the people want is for Transformers to end. Transformers are just been like going on for too long. They're boring. I watched the first 2 movies. I didn't like them at all. So, I mean, I know I'm talking from a little bit of biased experience, but it's time to let it go, I think. There's other ideas. There's other movies. I don't know why they can't move on and make something else.
Well,
Nikki.
you can't slam the other 4 for the first 2. The first 2 are actually pretty good.
I didn't like the first 2.
I mean, Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf did a
Yeah,
good job.
Megan Fox is the only good part of the entire movie.
Nick, you haven't seen past the second one, though.
I have not.
So you have not seen Dark of the Moon or the last one, Age of Extinction.
I did not, but it's not good to start out your franchise with 2 of the worst movies. Like, if you're like, maybe you're saying 3 and 4 are good, but why would they start out with 1 and 2 being bad?
Well, fans tend to think that first movie is the good one. It's generally got a lot of fanfare. It's where the second one that people say it drops off, and some people don't even like the third. There was a return to form, though, a lot of people say, with that fourth one, the Mark Wahlberg entry, Age of Extinction, which I personally thoroughly enjoyed. I actually thought it was really much better than the 2 that came prior. Evan?
Well, I've only seen the first 2, but I think this is what happens to a lot of storylines, like the new Star Wars movie. I haven't seen it, and nobody has, but I'm pretty sure that it'll do just what sequels do. They continue the story because they have to, and these writers are forced to keep writing about things that they don't want to write about just because it'll make them money.
When you're talking
We're talking Star Wars
Wars, you're
Well,
talking
yeah,
J.J. Abrams, who's the director of the film, so obviously he wants to write about it. His success is due on it. And then Lawrence Kasdan, who actually wrote the scripts on the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So, I mean, it's a passion project for most when it comes to Star Wars. Could it be they hired actually a writing team to plan out the next few movies for Transformers, much like a television show does, where there's a writer's room. So, and a lot of them were supposed to be prominent members of television and movie writings, screenwriting. So, I mean, could it be that they did? There's people that grew up with Transformers. They must have a passion with the story.
Well, actually, it's funny you bring up TV, because we've seen so many variations of Transformers on TV. I can remember being a little kid and all the forms of it, In the movies, it's Optimus Prime, it's Bumblebee, but when you were watching the cartoon when you were younger, it was like Optimus Prime, Megatron,
No, the
Hotshot.
toys. I mean, I had an Optimus Prime toy.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm going to stick with the things I grew up with, and that's what I'm going to spend $10, $15 on, and that's what it comes down to at the movies. You're going to spend that much? I'm going to spend on what I know. All right, moving on. A few weeks ago at Spring Valley High School in Columbia, South Carolina, a school police officer used force against a student who refused to put her phone away during class. The officer threw down her desk while she was still sitting in it and then proceeded to drag her across the floor in a video taken by a classmate. Some people say that it was too brutal, while others say that the girl deserved it for being insubordinate. Which do you believe is true? Nick, let's start out with you on this
It
one.
was absolutely way too brutal. Like, I don't know if you saw the video, maybe you have. He literally threw her out of the chair. He could have broke her neck. That cop not only should have been fired, he should have been put in jail. That's just insane. You can't do that. I mean, of course, maybe she had attitude problems. That's not how you deal with the situation. That's just totally out of line. And just
explain to the
100%
viewers what the force was used. Like, why, in your opinion, was it excessive?
we've all had like times where we acted up in high school or have seen people acting up in high school. To physically pick up the desk with the girl in it and throw her onto the ground.
She was
It's
still
just-
sitting in the desk.
She was just sitting in the desk. She was like being insubordinate with her phone. That's obviously like, okay, once they tell you to put away your phone, you should. But we've all been kids. We've all done things that we're not supposed to.
So
You shouldn't be thrown to the ground. That girl could have been seriously injured, and if I was the family, I would sue that cop.
He Incredible Hulked
Yes.
out and
Just totally insane.
Jake, have you had a chance to see the video?
I actually have. I mean, it's hard when you see something like this, but nowadays with social media, videos, being able to take anything, we never really get the full story. I mean, it's still wrong.
Fair enough, yeah.
But there are reports out there that this girl was not only being insubordinate, but she was insulting the cop, punching the cop, and in actuality, what had happened was the cop was called in to escort her from the premise in a calm fashion.
So with the video, you're saying we saw a snippet, and only a snippet taken out of
Exactly.
context. It's what happened before, and maybe even after that we didn't see.
But without the video, we would never even know this happened, maybe, because the school might cover it up, the teacher might cover it up, and who's going to believe the random high school students that they don't know what they're talking about or whatever. So I definitely think that social media was really helpful in this case in actually seeing what happens. Because even if the girl was insulting the cop and maybe even like hitting the cop a little bit, I don't think she was like wailing on the cop. It's just definitely wrong. And
Okay, Evan, have you had a chance to see the video yourself?
Yes, I have. And I completely agree with you, Nick. That cop was just a terrible cop. He should have known how to respond to a situation like that where a girl refused to put away her phone and even could have like used insults or even thrown punches. Violence should never be the answer, and it's only rare that, and unless a police officer fears for his life, then there should be no excuse for violence. The police officer should know how to respond to a situation like this, and I blame the people who train these officers for situations like this.
Right,
because
officers should be trained to, if they have to get physical, do it in the least violent manner, least physically harming manner. They're trained in this etiquette.
But are they trained?
Are
That's
they
the
trained?
problem.
or are they being trained the right way?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're being trained, but they're being trained with techniques that obviously are not fit for today's society. You can't just throw people out of their desk and risk them getting hurt. There's ramifications for people's actions, and like I said before, I think the cops should be fired.
I think he actually is facing the ramifications because the reports have been leaked now, and he was fired for this. And that's still not enough for people. They want criminal charges against this guy.
I agree.
But I mean,
It's a form of child abuse.
Yeah.
Let's
it is.
face
But
it.
I mean,
When
So-
that-
That's just happened
basically
too
ruin a
often.
guy's life for 5 seconds of a mistake
well, I
that was
mean,
caught on video.
there have been people where 5 seconds of a mistake where they've shot someone in the head and killed them.
That's true.
So
But,
should they like, oh, well, that was a 5-second mistake. They shouldn't go to jail.
well, no, but there are circumstances.
Yeah. But this
I
girl
mean-
could have been seriously injured. He could have like broke her neck. She could have died. right there in that classroom. When she went to school today, that day, she did not think that she was going to be thrown out of her desk onto the ground.
But
And
I
it's just
mean,
that's not
really
the
you shouldn't be
awful.
insubordinate.
That's not what should happen in
You shouldn't
school.
be. When someone asks you politely, just leave, just leave.
Okay.
That's the end of it. It would have saved so much trouble.
Before one of you throw each other
Before
out
we
of
throw
that
each other off the
seat, we do got to take a commercial break. Oh, and just as it was getting good, but when we come back, it's going to heat up, and I know it. So we'll see you after the commercial break.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back to Commotion. And our next topic of discussion takes it a little bit back to the meat topic, except it's a little different because a restaurant in Vermont has developed a menu in which it will serve meat supplied by local hunters. However, in addition to these foods, it will also be serving meat recovered from roadkill. Is this a good use of meat, or is it too disgusting to consume? Who's interested in eating roadkill here, huh?
I am.
Are you, Evan?
Yeah.
Yay, we've got someone.
Here's the thing about roadkill. There's no need to kill an animal and to lock it in a barn all day, feed it antibiotics, and let it never see the light of day, when you could just take something from the road and eat it. It's like horrible that we're killing these animals and there's just dead animals right there. And
Plenty of food. I run by roadkill all the time.
Yeah.
What a waste. Why should the animals eat it all?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want some grilled pheasant? Or maybe quail bird you hit on the side of the road, an owl even?
An owl? I mean, you might be getting into endangered species territory there. That might be against the law.
But I mean,
I'm just not a big fan of eating like rotting possum, okay? If I'm like driving on the road and I see like, oh, look at that, I'm not thinking, oh man, I wish someone like had the idea to put that in a restaurant and eat, and so I could eat it. Like I can't wait to have my possum burger later. Like there are just other ways. You don't have to be like inhumane to the animals, but you don't necessarily have to eat them off the road.
Okay.
I mean, I guess maybe if they're like they were just killed, fine. But if they've been there more than like 20 minutes, no.
Now let me offer this. What's the difference between running over a squirrel, a possum, whatever, and kill it, eat it, whatever? What if you run over a deer? Are you going to just let that sit there and rot, or is that okay to bring home? Because I got a lot of friends who have ran over deer and used it as meat for sausage. And
I feel that's like a judgment
That's
call.
okay to bring home.
that's venison,
You gotta
man.
decide. Like it's a judgment call.
What's
I mean,
the difference?
like if you run over it, then yes, you can bring it home. But like if you're driving on the road and you see one there, are you gonna be like, man, I wonder how long it's been there. I'm gonna bring that home.
Now, don't you think the restaurant is taking certain precautions in doing cleaning methods and making sure it's sterile for people to eat, no bacteria, whatnot?
Yeah, I read some articles about that. They do everything they can to make sure that there's no bacteria on it, no infections, because a lot of dead things get infections once they die, like just from flies around them. But they've definitely taken a lot of measures to prevent that.
So what's the
See, I call bull on that. That's just some smoke and mirror PR thing. I mean, we've heard about places like Wendy's serving horse meat for burgers. So what's to keep this restaurant from saying, oh yeah, it passed inspection?
I agree. I mean, KFC just the other like a couple of months ago, there was like they found like pig snouts in their things. Like I don't necessarily know if I want to eat a pig snout. I mean, we also have this mindset in American culture that we don't like to maybe eat like just random weird stuff. Some of us do because we're weird, but
Well.
like maybe we don't want to eat like the brain and all this other stuff and all this other crap. And I think like roadkill, though you might not be eating the brain, it's just weird to eat something that's been killed on the road.
I, for one, am an adventurous eater. I can watch the show Bizarre Foods and get hungry with
Great show.
80% of what he eats. So personally, I'd probably eat some of the stuff you're talking about, pig snout, brain.
But in
squirrel.
Bizarre Foods, do they ever run over their animals and then eat them? Like, oh look, boom, we just ran over that armadillo. Let's go eat that.
They've eaten a lot of grosser stuff. But Evan,
Here's the thing. This is a nice, fancy restaurant. This isn't just like KFC or Wendy's. These are like actual professional cooks, not just like some college kids who've been hired to cook. So I think that as cooks, they would not do anything to poison the guests. And
Intentionally.
well, I think they do every measure they can to stop this because they're professionals.
Accidents still happen.
The people you're talking about are not professionals. They're just like average people. These are cooks.
I just feel eating
Professionals are
roadkill
still
is a
average
little too
people.
far. I'm not a fan of the eating roadkill idea. I mean, maybe some people like that. But if you guys all want to eat roadkill, by all means, I'm not going to say you can't.
Listen, then you can leave all the squirrels to me because I will eat them all if you're not going to have them, okay? Now, the next topic, our final topic of the day, is one I think we've all got an opinion on. It's kind of sad. As of this year, Playboy magazine will not be showing fully nude girls in their magazine issues. Will they lose sales over this decision, or do their readers truly read it for the articles? Guys,
They do not read it
this
for
is
the articles.
the end of an era.
No one reads it for the articles, but I guess in their defense, to be fair, there are so many other outlets to get that need accomplished that you don't really need to
All
go
over the internet.
You have
Exactly,
I've heard that there's places on the internet where that stuff happens. I might not necessarily be aware of those places.
Well,
but
then you must be living under a rock, sir.
No,
and you are a scholar and a gentleman.
I just try to be a gentleman. That is my take.
Tank, are we losing a part of like Americana here with no nudes in Playboy?
Well, I actually saw this. When they originally founded it, it was something like 7 million subscriptions were sold. Recently, it had dropped to about 800,000.
Wow.
So basically what they're trying to accomplish here, they said, is they want to make it more broad. They want to try and raise the sales again. So they're like, well, we got to try and sacrifice for some business here. They're probably deeply saddened that they have to end an era that fathers and sons probably passed on from
I don't know
generation.
if that.
Sure,
It's very questionable. Fathers and sons. Son, look at this magazine.
But one thing that has been going on forever and has been known is their articles are actually very good, very well written, whether they deal with politics, entertainment, social issues. Evan, I mean, have you read any articles in Playboy ever?
No, I honestly say that I haven't, but here's the thing. If you're looking for like online nude pics, then you're not going to get an article out of it. You read Playboy for the articles because I think the reason that they're losing so many subscriptions is because people are just going online looking up like hot nude girls and then they're just not reading. But I think that there are true, honest Playboy fans out there who will read it for the articles and not just for like the sex appeal.
Well, let's face it, Hugh Hefner's not going to lose any money over this. The guy's richer than God.
He also doesn't have that much longer, probably, because he is like 87 years old.
Okay.
Maybe not quite.
Let's
That's
Let's
not
not be
a
morbid
fact.
about it.
89.
But I'm going to offer up this. It's one thing to have the internet where you can see a plethora of girls and a plethora of random girls. But what Playboy offered was that outlet for celebrity nudism. I mean, Marilyn Monroe, dating back to that. I mean, Pamela Anderson, some of the greatest celebrities, Kim Kardashian in recent years, the greatest celebrity females have bared it all there, and we're going to lose that.
I mean, it really is an end of an era, like you said. Like, you just named celebrities that have gone through the years. We've seen... It's just something that's been a part of culture for a long time.
It's
and
iconoclastic, without a doubt.
Exactly.
And to be fair,
Farrah Fawcett.
I'm not entirely sure they're going to keep it gone forever. They might bring it back. This might be like a temporary PR stunt to like shock the crowd, like, oh no. And they're like, just kidding, here it comes. And they're like, yay.
Do
You know what I
something
mean?
to boost sales.
Yeah, like boost it up. Like, I mean, I know this wasn't an intentional PR stunt, but back in the day, New Coke. Everyone hated New Coke. When they brought back Coke Classic, people loved it.
Well, you know, and Clear Pepsi and
Yeah, well, that was
all the
cool.
other ones. Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today, which also means it's my least favorite part of the show, because I unfortunately have to break the hearts of two grown men here and award someone the winner of the show. So let's get to the proverbial and literal drum roll and get it going, because our winner today is... Don't hate me, guys, but Evan's the winner today.
Yeah! Woo! I'm so happy right now.
Yes, so am
Love
I.
the show.
This
Yeah.
is awesome. Man, congratulations, Evan. You,
First time on the show.
Yeah, and first time winner. So Well, Evan, you now have 30 seconds to shout out loud whatever's on your mind. But at first, we need to remind our viewers that you can catch Commotion and other CTV programs on Time Warner Cable Channel 12. Now, without further ado, take it away, Evan.
Hi, my name's Evan. I want to be a journalist. I just love St. John Fisher. It's the best school in the world. I just really love it. Oh, by the way, hi, Mom. And our family doesn't have cable, so we can't watch this. So, yeah. Hopefully it'll be online somewhere. But, yeah, I just had so much fun with this. And please invite me back. I loved it. It was so much fun. So much fun. See ya.
Okay, thank you, Evan, and thank you all for joining us. I'm Rob Sweet, and we'll catch you down the road on Commotion.